Thank you all for joining us for the group itineraries presentation for 2018 to 2019. Before we begin, I just want to note that this webinar is being recorded for educational purposes. At this time, all attendees are in listen-only mode. If you have a question anytime throughout the presentation, please type it in the upper right-hand window and we will answer it after the presentation. If there are specific questions, which there might be for this group's ideas webinar, if we can't answer it right at the moment, we will have someone from our team reach out to you by email within the next 24 to 48 business hours. Without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce Meredith Harrell, our Midwest Sales Manager. How are you doing, Meredith?
I'm good. Thank you, Danielle, and thank y'all so much for joining us today. I'm excited to be here with y'all to talk about these fabulous group itineraries that we have. I think there's some really wonderful ideas for y'all and for some future groups that you might have. So let's get started. This is me. I'm based in Dallas. I've been with Europe Express for about 2 years, and I absolutely adore our groups team. I think they do a fantastic job, so I'm really excited today to get to share a little bit more about them and some itineraries that we do. So I think this is kind of the slide that we say why Europe Express is a little different. So our hand-picked products, we do have an office in Barcelona that does all of our contracting for us. Our reservation experts, both on our FIT and group side, are absolutely outstanding. They're so well-traveled. Most of them lived in, studied in, extensively traveled in the destinations. They know it so well, and I think that they really help give you the confidence to sell a destination maybe you're not as familiar with. Number 3, and what we're going to talk about a lot today, is our dedicated groups team. We do groups unlike anybody else, and we do a really outstanding job of it. So we'll focus in on that today. Online is available for you 24/7. We don't do brochures, but our website is just chock full of information. Make sure to go on there. There's a lot of old webinars that you can listen on as well. We've been doing a lot more destination-focused webinars. I think that those have been quite helpful, very heavily attended as well. So if you have some time and you're interested, I recommend going and kind of looking for those and some other things on our website. And then our in-destination emergency support. On the group side, your group is serviced by someone both in Barcelona and Seattle, so everyone is very well versed in your group's trip. And then on the FIT side, all of our travel documents include a phone number for our Barcelona team that is there to support them while they're traveling. So really, all hands on deck there. So these are the 22 countries that we contract directly in. These are the same 22 countries that 82% of Americans go when going on a leisure vacation to Europe. So we really have Eastern Europe covered for you. So on a private group side, for us, groups are 10 or more adults traveling together. As you see, friends and family, special interest groups. We do a ton of pre and post cruising groups. And important to remember, if you do a pre or a post cruise group with us, we can actually do your short excursions for you as well. We can do 1, 2, all of them if you'd like, but with the short excursions, we do need the pre or the post cruise stay. These itineraries that we're going to talk about today, I think that they could work for anybody. I talked to Ken on our groups team, and he said, we're going to be talking about a World War I itinerary, and he said those are going to be great for veterans and for families. For those who are interested in more and typically focus more on World War II, it's a really wonderful itinerary for them with a nice Paris add-on. We find that religious groups are very, very successful with us because typically the group of people have a better bond and they've spent some time together. So these would be great itineraries for them as well. Really excited to share them with you. So as a reminder, the products and services that we sell. So we're air, hotel, sightseeing, transfers, rail, and rental car all in one place for you. Obviously, the rental car is not going to really be needed as much on the group side. It's going to be more on the FIT side, but we are your one-stop shop for Europe bookings for your clients. So we may still be in 2017, but if you've sent off a group trip before, you know that it takes time to get the itinerary down and the logistics settled. Today we're going to discuss 3 trips specifically designed for specialized groups in 2018 and 2019. So these are itineraries that we've excelled on last year, the year before, and some of them are actually in the current planning stages today. Our groups team is at your service to take the headache out of group travel and provide you with the information to sell these fantastic European destinations and historical stories that come with them. So the first trip we're going to talk about is in celebration of the 500-year anniversary of Leonardo da Vinci. So with this itinerary, take a step back in time, as in 5 centuries, to when impeccable art, scientific research, and the Renaissance came together. At the invitation of the French king Francois I, Leonardo da Vinci left Italy to live in Amboise, a royal town spawning the river Loire. With Francois I as patron, Leonardo put his engineering genius to good use to help create lavish celebrations and even drew up plans to link the river Loire and the soon-to-be canal. On this tour, your group will explore the last years of Da Vinci's life and his work. So we'll start the tour in Amboise. In the Loire Valley sits Amboise, a small town with narrow streets and small shops. Above the main square stands Chateau d'Amboise, an impressive and extravagant castle that became styled and enlarged by each king that continued to live there. Then we'll visit a Gothic chapel from 1491 that rises above other fortifications and holds the tomb of Leonardo da Vinci. Next, we'll explore the nearby official residence of Leonardo, the Chateau de Cluluca. I'm terrible at pronouncing French. Leonardo spent his last 3 years of his life working for the King of France. From there, through the vineyards of the Loire Valley sits Loena, our base to explore the local towns around the region. Fall into an enchanting atmosphere with the 12th century castle and the surrounding UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Being off the beaten path, but close to fantastic historical highlights, will make your guests feel like locals without heavy crowds and lines. And I think that that's something so important for groups, is they don't feel like they're so claustrophobic with crowds all the time. So this is a really wonderful itinerary, kind of off the beaten path. From there, you can understand why Da Vinci chose his last moments within the Loire Valley. The feeling of being in the beautiful countryside, full of incomparable history and castles, is one of the must-be experienced by all. After our time in the Loire Valley, we'll head northeast only a few hours by vehicle. So what is a visit to France without a stop under the City of Lights? Romantics, art lovers, and anyone that suffers from a degree in wanderlust can steer away from the pleasures of Paris. At the top of the agenda, we'll enter through the glass-domed Louvre Museum to see Da Vinci's artwork up close. Examine and determine for yourself if Mona Lisa is smiling or if Mona Lisa is frowning. Also, I was shocked how small Mona Lisa was when I was visiting it for myself. So next, we'll see the first painting Leonardo is known to have painted in Milan, the Virgin of the Rocks. After the guided tour of the Louvre, you can choose between free time or more guided visits throughout Paris, whether that be a cruise down the Seine River or a tour of the 12th century Notre Dame Cathedral. Europe Express can cater to your group's preferences and requests. One of the other things that Ken mentioned to me is with kind of these itineraries and ones that end in Paris, he's been finding a lot more requests for culinary experiences. So they have some really great walking tours for smaller groups that will go through the neighborhood of Saint Germain and then the Latin Quarter. So that's something to consider if you have a group that may be into the culinary arts. They could have that as an add-on in one of the afternoons. So the next itinerary we're going to talk about is also French and a somber reminder of the costly battles of our past. For an educational and real experience of this topic, I'd like to tell you about our fantastic guide we've partnered with for many years. Johan, which I thought we had a picture of Johan, we don't. Sorry, I thought we had a picture of him on here. Johan brings extensive knowledge, passion, and friendliness to every tour he does. He began studying history and language in the early 80s and quickly became licensed as a tour guide specializing in Paris. While he was well acquainted with Paris, Johan realized his passion was truly for World War I's history, and after a 3-year extensive course, became a certified battlefield guide. Johan's years of experience helped curate this itinerary for us, and is a great way to commemorate this 100-year anniversary. So we're going to first start in Campania. We'll visit the Armistice, I believe is what I would say, the Armistice Museum, where a French cannon and ST-17 tank lie out front. The remains of the Armistice wagon where Armistice was signed can be found here as well. The museum boasts images from infantrymen and items used during the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. Then it's on to the Chateau de Campania, a royal residence remodeled by Napoleon, as it was a surprise for his wife, Marie-Louise. The chateau has a vast collection of items from World War I, including a replica of Marshal Foch's car and an image series of a soldier's life in the trenches. The Battle of Somme in 1916 was the initial great offense of World War I. After the first day of battle, the British lost 58,000 troops, a third of its troops at the time. Ultimately, 1.5 million Australians, Germans, French, and South African men lost their lives in this battle. The battlefields now serve as a memorial, along with the Lochnagar mine crater and the Thiepval Memorial, which is dedicated to the missing soldiers. Next, we will walk the grounds where the major offense by the British Army, the Battle of Arras, took place. To not arouse suspicion, New Zealand miners created tunnels under Arras so the French could take the Germans by surprise. Visit these limestone tunnels at the memorial of the Battle of Arras, Wellington Tunnels, to see where over 2,000 troops actually hid. Our last destination held one of the costliest battles of war, the Battle of Verdun. There were over a million casualties from both sides that devastated the region. The Verdun battle is a moving experience that is well maintained and enlightened. On site sits Fort Douaumont, Bayonet Trench, and the Verdun Memorial. Of these 9 small villages destroyed in the area, you can wander through what is left of the villages of Fleury. We recommend spending a full day on the Verdun battlefield as there is so much to see and learn. A bit outside of Verdun is a site where one of the most significant battles took place, involving Americans and helping bring an end to the war. Within 3 hours before the attack, there had been more ammunition fired than the two sides managed to fire throughout the 4 years of the American Civil War. The cost ended up being $1 million per minute. Meuse-Argonne ended up being one of the deadliest battles in U.S. history, but sadly, it is very much forgotten. The Meuse-Argonne American Cemetery and Memorial serves as a great reminder of those that lost their lives during the Meuse-Argonne offense, which can also be visited. To brighten our spirits, we'll head to the Bavarian Alps, where crisp, refreshing beer is served and many dance in colored costumes under large tents to celebrate their country's annual event, Oktoberfest. For those not sure how this festival started, on October 17th of 1810, Prince Ludwig of Bavaria married Princess Therese. In honor of their marriage, the royal couple held a celebration that invited all the citizens of Munich to attend. Munich and the soon-to-be king enjoyed the festivities so much that they declared it an annual event. And that event has been a continued success. 2018 will be the 185th Oktoberfest and is now the largest festival in the world, with nearly 6 million visitors from across the globe that come to experience it. So how do we take on this massive festival with a group of 10 or more? This is how Europe Express gets it done. And I think this year, if I'm not mistaken, we have 5 groups that are going to Oktoberfest. So it is something that we get requested quite a bit. And this year they all were able to get 10 access, but it was because of their flexibility, which is one of the things we're going to talk about. So reserve early. During Oktoberfest, large tents cover extended tables full of participating beer drinkers and the festivities events. Therefore, our top priority is to confirm a tent reservation for your group. We request our tent reservations starting in January of that year and will not officially have confirmation until June or July. Hundreds of thousands request reservations, so priority is given to locals and repeat customers. Due to overwhelming requests, as I said, we cannot guarantee reservations. To better our chances, we've found groups willing to go on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday are more likely to have their reservations confirmed. If a reservation is not confirmed for your group, there are other options. We can offer lunch at a nearby brewery and enjoy an afternoon walking tour of the Oktoberfest grounds with a guide, or your group may wander the Oktoberfest grounds on their own and in smaller groups of up to 3 people, and they may be able to join other tents. Groups wanting to do this must ask politely to join a table of strangers, as they won't be served unless they're sitting at a table. But really, when we're drinking beer, we're all friends. There's no such thing as strangers. So we offer unique experiences. Since your clients are most likely going to Oktoberfest for their love of beer, there are plenty of ways to learn about the Bavarian beer culture aside from attending the main event. A trending sightseeing option is touring the hop farms that make beer so darn delicious. From early September, farmers begin their harvest, where tourists may visit and learn the process of creating aroma-filled hops. Set in a beautiful countryside, the tour provides full circle of the process it takes to create this thirst-quenching beverage. Another noteworthy option is to explore the great castles near Munich. King Ludwig II of Bavaria, who was also the grandson of King Ludwig, who originated Oktoberfest, lives an extremely extravagant lifestyle where he created fairy tale castles and palaces that are visited by millions today. From what was a forester's home, King Ludwig built into a royal lodge for his mountaineering trips and hunting. Soon the large phased into an immaculate Linderhof palace, complete with royal gardens and priceless artifacts. About an hour's drive from the palace sits Neuschwanstein's castle, the castle of the fairy tale king. The unbelievable setting, interior and exterior of the castle may have made it essential visits through the Bavarian Alps. So fun fact, actually Disney used the castle as inspiration for some of its movies and Cinderella's castle at Disney World. So we do recommend staying outside of Munich and enjoying the views around it. Whether it's at the beginning of the festivals or midway through, Munich will be busy with partygoers and tourists throughout September and October. Consider a quiet alternative in the Bavarian countryside that sits only 30 minutes by high-speed train to the festival. Starnberg is the perfect retreat of small-town Bavaria culture and a closeness to the main festivities. Located in the Five Lakes region, Starnberg sits on the lovely Starnberg Lake that offers boat tours, cycling, and several other outdoor activities. Guests that stay have several restaurants, cafes, shopping boutiques to enjoy, and it's so far from the crowds of Munich. And it's only, I believe, a 30-minute high-speed train ride to the festival. So that's really all that we have for the itineraries. I want to go through a little bit of kind of the process of working with us on the group side real quick. I think I still have a few minutes. So design. To maximize your selling window, it's best to start working with us at least 10 months prior to departure. Share with us the details of your desired itinerary and we'll begin to work on a quote and help narrow down which details are right for your clients. From there, when you start to decide, when you and your clients are happy with the quote, both itinerary and pricing, it's time to put down the $500 planning fee and start selling the trip. We strongly encourage this to be done no less than 6 months prior to departure. The planning fee will be deducted from the final invoice. To confirm, we'll arrange all the final details, collect from you the rooming list, any special requests, and a further deposit for each attendee 4 months prior to departure. We'll finalize payment. That's going to be needed 2 months prior to departure. And then once we're 45 days out, it's time to get your clients excited about their upcoming travels. It's a good time to plan a pre-departure meeting with your group. By 45 days prior, our team will have shared a preview of the final documents for your review. Then it's time to depart. The fun begins and your group enjoys a seamless vacation. We're here to further support the group should anything come up while they're traveling. And then ask for referrals and feedback to encourage and enhance your next group's vacation 7 days after they return. We'll send over a separate survey asking how we did and what we can work on for the next group. We'd love to have your referrals, and I know you'd love to have your group's referrals as well. So here's some resources for you. I do want to make note that on this GoToMeeting, there are 3 handouts that are attached, and it's a little snapshot of all of the 3 itineraries that we talked about. I'll also send a follow-up email to you, including those handouts, so you have those. Like I said, online, we really do have it chock full of information. We do have some really fabulous culinary flyers for France, Italy, and Spain. At the very bottom corner, you'll see a picture of our newsletter. If you're not signed up for our newsletter, I do highly recommend that. It's sent once a week, and it talks about any new products that we have, any upcoming webinars that we have, if we have any SAM trips coming up. It really is just the best way to stay in the loop with us and what's going on. So like I said, if you're not signed up for that, I would recommend just going onto the homepage and signing up for the email. And then how to work with us. I know it's a busy time of year, and I'm going to do, I want to make sure that you feel comfortable getting a hold of us. So if you're not already, please do get registered with us. You can go online and submit a quote request form. Even if you don't actually fill out this form, I think it's a wonderful template to use because that's the information that we need to really start building the best itinerary for your group. The more we know, the better we can start building that. On the group side, we don't pull anything from our FIT inventory. Everything is contracted specifically for your group. So like I said, the more you can tell us about the group, how they know each other, if they've traveled together before, if the hotel is important to them, what is important to them, the better that we can get that itinerary moving. And then you can always call in to talk to someone on our team. Like I said, our group team is absolutely fabulous. They're a very small team, and they do an incredible job. If you haven't had the opportunity to work with them, I hope these itineraries will give you a good idea for some groups that you may be able to put together to be able to work with our team. So here are some important numbers to jot down. On the FIT side, it's important to know we are open 7 days a week. So if you have a destination you're maybe not as familiar with, or you just have a lot of questions, call us on a Saturday or Sunday. Our team has a lot of time on those days that they can really help you with those questions, and just know that they're accessible when you need them. Our groups department is there Monday to Friday, and the email address for them is newgroups@europeexpress.com, and this is a really great email address to keep down if you have any questions or any itineraries you'd like to start working on. And with that, that is our information for today. Danielle, do we have any questions?
Thank you, Meredith. Lots of great information. We do have a few questions coming in. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to enter them into the GoToWebinar box, and we will try to get to them today. Let's see. Do you have any bulk air pricing to offer with pre-post cruise? And that's from Dana.
Hey, Dana. So we contract our air. We have fantastic air pricing. We contract with 17 carriers. Sometimes it's competitive with published. A lot of times it's way better than published, especially on the first and business class side. And on the group side, we can do, for 20 or more, we can do air only, just so you know. But yes, on the pre or the post-cruise side, you can do air with us. It does require a land component, though. But I do highly recommend you trying us on the air side because we have really great rates.
Awesome. Jesse had a nice little shout out. I have done several groups with Europe Express, and the group department is great. Thank you, Jesse, for that.
Jesse, I agree. They're fantastic. Thank you.
Timmy is wondering, who is your specialist for Oktoberfest group?
Honestly, they all have worked on Oktoberfest groups. Ricarda, who heads our groups department, is actually German. So she does know a lot of people, and I think that she's been a huge benefit to helping get these groups secured into the tent. But all of them are very, very well versed in Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I'd agree. They're all really knowledgeable when it comes to Oktoberfest, especially when Ricardo's a German. Let's see. Do you offer golf trips for Scotland or Ireland? And that's from Tony.
Hey, Tony. Yeah, we have done quite a few golf itineraries before. I know of a few agents of mine who've done some golf trips with us. One was in Scotland, and I have another who I know has a quote out for Ireland. So I don't know how all of that functions, to be quite honest with you, with our groups team side, but I know that that is something that they do. You'd have to just work with them on logistics of that.
Perfect. And Meredith, I don't know if we'll know this one, but for Oktoberfest, what is the max group size? And that's for Rosie. I'm guessing 600?
Rosie, Rosie, I honestly have no clue. So I will ask someone from the groups team, and I'll follow up with you after this by email to let you know what the max group size is. I mean, I think the more the merrier, but that's just my mentality.
Right. Is the group planning fee something new? And that's from Lou.
It is something new, actually, Lou. It's something that we did a big comp set analysis for our groups department earlier this year, and we kind of have, I shouldn't say we kind of have, we have gone away from doing speculative groups. And a lot of what this new fee is really in your protection, because we found that the groups who weren't willing to give you that money to commit were the groups that didn't move forward. So, like I said, the $500 does go towards their group fee once they move forward, but it's now our planning fee, and it is a new fee that we've just rolled out. Yes.
Okay. Would you mind, Meredith, going back to the contact information for FIT and groups? Perfect. Thank you. And I guess I didn't know this, but King Ludwig is actually pronounced Ludwig. That's coming from Sue. So thank you, Sue. Ludwig.
Thank you, Sue.
I didn't know
Sue.
that.
I was really feeling like I was butchering everything in this. So my French and my German, neither one are very good. I live in Texas, so my Spanish is okay, but the rest of it I suffer. So thanks for.
Thomas is wondering, do you know the dates for Oktoberfest next year? Isn't it at like the third week of September it usually starts?
I'd have to check on that as well.
I think it starts in September sometime, the second or third week of September, but we'll double check on that. Do you do FIT? That's coming from Connie.
Yes, Connie. Actually, I would say the vast majority of our business is FIT, and they also do an exceptional job. Our group side does a great job, but so does our FIT side. And it's fabulous because you can do just a transfer, just a hotel, just a sightseeing with us to truly the full kit and caboodle. We are the one-stop shop for your clients here at Booking.
Awesome. Lots of questions coming in. This is great. I love seeing all these questions. Okay, Susan did help here. She said Oktoberfest begins September 16th this year, so it is about like the second to third week it typically starts. With a group of 10 or more, is the individual rate for the trip and air lower than the individual FIT trip? And that's coming from Tony as well.
I mean, I feel like that's a little bit of a trick question, Tony, only because we're not pulling from FIT inventory at all, so everything, like I said, is specialty contracted for the group. So, I mean, I guess you could compare apples to oranges, but I would say your group is, I would think, always going to be more cost-effective than going FIT on the individual side. But I guess it would depend on like a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I think it depends. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. You never know sometimes. Is it realistic to include a couple days in Salzburg along with the Munich trip?
Oh, for sure.
I don't see why not. It's right around the corner. Yeah. Take a train. Yeah. I want to say it's like 2 to 3 hours by train from Munich to Salzburg. Just double check. I don't see why not. That'd be wonderful too if Salzburg is beautiful for the winter market.
That would be a really nice add-on, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of these questions that are coming in are pretty specific, Meredith, so I'm going to send them over to you.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Just so everyone knows, this is being recorded, so we'll be putting it on our webinars page, and you can go back to that, but there are the handouts that are also attached to this webinar that you can download now. Thank you so much, Meredith, for all the wonderful information.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for attending, and I'll send a follow-up email, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I hope to know the answer. If not, I will definitely find it for you. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your Thursday.
Thank you, Meredith.
Bye.